And each official, governor, lieutenant governor, comptroller, all that, they all serve 4-year terms. So we have an election next November 2026. So the governor, he's the chief executive officer of Illinois, very much like the president, who is the chief executive officer of the United States. The governor is in charge here. One of the main duties of the governor, much like the president, is to see that laws passed by the General Assembly are carried out. The legislature makes the laws, the executive enforces the laws, the judicial branch interprets law. So the governor will give an annual report to the General Assembly. That's the State of the State address. You can Google it on, well, you wouldn't Google it. You could search it on YouTube, and you can find J.B. Pritzker giving a whole bunch of these. Proposes a budget for the state, signs or vetoes bills passed by the General Assembly. So state agencies like the Department of Public Health, the Department of Children and Family Services, the Department of Transportation, they carry out the laws and policies of the state. Not just those agencies, every agency, but I'm just giving examples of what we have here. So the governor appoints the directors of these agencies, and sometimes that can be a little tricky, especially if we're changing parties of governor. So like Rauner to Pritzker, Quinn to Rauner, and the missions of the agencies and the directions in which they go can get a little confused, especially during transitions. So the governor appoints the directors and many other administrators. There's fairly wide latitude in who he's allowed to nominate, just like the president. The governor nominates the state officials. The nominations must be approved by the state senate, just like the federal government. So many of the powers of the governor are similar to the powers of the president. One difference, however, the governor has the power to veto or reduce items of appropriation bills, so bills which spend money. So the president can't do that, but the governor can veto or reduce items of appropriation bills. The governor can also eliminate certain items from the bill, but approve the rest of the bill. So the president can't do that. The president can only approve or veto the entire bill, and the president gives a veto message, and I suppose the president could say in there, this is a great bill, I only had a problem with this. But he has to send back the whole thing. So this is our governor. I hope I'm not breaking any news. He's been governor for a long time, since 2019. J.B. Pritzker, businessman and philanthropist. So he ran in 2018 against then-Governor Bruce Rauner, Sam McCann, who formed the Conservative Party, and Cash Jackson, who formed he didn't form it, who ran under the Libertarian ticket. So Pritzker beat former Governor Rauner 54.5% of the vote to 38.8%. And I remember that race, and Governor Rauner threw in the towel awfully early before a whole lot of the vote was counted. So he ran again in 2022 against Darren Bailey and Scott Schluter, and he beat Darren Bailey 54.9 to 42.4. I have a hunch that he's probably going to win a third term. Maybe I'll be wrong, I don't know, but you've got it on video record. I think he'll probably get a third term. So his duties are as follows. He's the chief executive officer. He is in charge. He does it all. The National Guard, he's the commander-in-chief. He enforces the law. And his base salary, what we pay our governor, $205,700. $205,700. A lot of money. He doesn't take the salary. He's very, very rich. So, he doesn't need this. But I'm including the salaries of all these officials so that you get an idea of what state government actually costs. So like if we go back here, all right, the Illinois Senate, $89,250 times 59, 166 per diem times 59. The Illinois House of Representatives. Which one was I trying to get to? 89,250 times 118. Lot of money. Lot of money. And I'm wanting you to see that. So the Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton, she's running for Senate to fill Dick Durbin's Senate seat. So she's been governor since 2019. She's a former legislator and lawyer. You'll find in Illinois, it's not really changing all that much once you're in politics. I mean, you're in politics. Unless you really want out, there's going to be a gig for you for as long as you want it. She's the first African-American lieutenant governor in Illinois history. Her base salary is $163,500. Now, one question I have, and I suppose the answer would probably be somewhere in the compiled statutes of Illinois, and if anybody wants to take a look in there, I would happily give them some extra credit. How they came up with the salary for the lieutenant governor and the governor, and the attorney general and all the constitutional officers. So the lieutenant governor is similar to the vice president of the United States. She really just has to have a heartbeat. That's it. She performs any duties assigned by the governor. She's been a pretty active lieutenant governor. If J.B. Pritzker dies suddenly or is unable to serve, the lieutenant governor becomes the governor. So just like the vice president. So the Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, since 2019. He's a lawyer by profession. He was a former Cook County prosecutor. Like I said, once you're in the Illinois political machine, you're in the Illinois political machine. And he was a state senator from 2004 to 2019. And he was the man who was appointed to fill Obama's seat when Obama was elected to the U.S. Senate. So he filled in State Senator Obama's seat when former President Obama now went to the United States Senate. His base salary is $186,400. Now what he does, he's the chief legal officer of Illinois. So he represents the state agencies, state officials in court. He's also the chief law enforcement officer in Illinois. And he coordinates crime-fighting activities with state, county, and local authorities. So the Secretary of State, I was sad to see Jesse White go, but Alexei Janulius, he has been serving since 2023. His predecessor was Jesse White. So this guy was the founder and CEO of Anula Ventures, former chairman of the Illinois Community College Board, and the Illinois State Treasurer from 2007 to 2011. So what the Secretary of State is in charge of is keeping the official records of the General Assembly and the executive branch. The guy doesn't just do driver's license. That's a big part of it, but he is the record keeper for the General Assembly and the executive branch. So he licenses drivers, he keeps drivers' records, issues vehicle plates and titles, registers corporations. His base salary, $175,700. The comptroller, Susanna Mendoza, she's been in office since 2016. She was an Illinois state representative for a while. She was a Chicago city clerk for a while. Again, once you're in the machine, you stay in the machine. unless you want out. So the comptroller is the chief fiscal officer for Illinois. This office is very similar to the treasurer. To my mind, we could probably save some money and combine the offices and duties. But, what do I know? Just my opinion. So the comptroller reviews all bills and payments, pays the state's bills, keeps records, and helps set financial policies for the state. And her base salary, $163,500. Again, if somebody cares to go through the compiled statutes and figure out why the constitutional officers get paid what they do and why there's a difference, I would happily give extra credit. So the treasurer, Michael Frericks, there he is, and he's been in charge for a little over 10 years now, 2015 to present. He was a former Illinois state senator, base salary $163,500. And what does he do? He is the state's banker, and he keeps and invests the money the state receives through taxes.